I saw a snail attached to a stone, and I went to her to talk about my life, but instead she showed to me that her life was worse than mine, because look at me, I'm attached to a stone, I can move much, and I'm getting older. And I'm not going that far, because I'm just always in this. Crozza means a snail. I saw a snail. I vidi una crozza in Sicilian, of course. La 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 lero la lero la lero la lero la lero la lero la la. Vidi una crozza sopra un cantone e questa crozza mi si abbadari. La vita è fatta solo di dolori ed è così non puoi più campare.
People come up now, they use the Federal Hill as a tourism area. They come up to visit our fine restaurants, our gourmet shops. They come to see me because I have meats still cut to order. We still cut on the block, the old-fashioned style. And that's what draws them to Federal Hill today.
And I make it a habit of riding around the hill like you think I was a patrolman. But I do see some old faces, and you're riding by and reminisce, bringing back a lot of memories. And I do that every day. So because I'm retired, every day I get in my car and I ride that hill every day. It's true.
The Federal Hill is really kind of losing its image a little bit, because more and more people each year are moving out, and you've got other nationalities coming in now, see? But that was the way it was from the beginning, because originally it was an Irish settlement there, and the Italians come in and the Irish start moving out and the Italians took over, and so we never know what the future's going to bring in that area, yeah.
Most of these people that came from south of Rome. The reason for it, there were no opportunities there. There were no factories, there were no industries. They weren't skilled, most of them. Most of them were farmers, most of them worked off the land. So there was no future, and they knew it. They were concerned with their children, and they didn't want a repetition to continue as to what their life had been. They wanted a better life for their children and themselves. So that's why people from southern Italy came here, from Calabria, from Sicily, from Naples and Ischia, and all of the southern portions of Italy. They came because there was no alternative, and they came here.
We used to have the Favre lines that ran from Marseille and from Genoa. They'd get on the boat in Naples, and it would stop at Genoa, I believe, then Marseille, and then it would come to Providence, the port of Providence. So a lot of people came through the port of Providence and didn't do Ellis Island. They came directly here, and they used to line up. The Favre line steamship would line up, and they would put their bags on the docks And the people from Federal Hill and from other neighborhoods in the city, but originally from Federal Hill, would go down and look at the name tags and look to see where they were from, what paese or what village they were from, and they would take them in.
Her parents come from Pico, P-I-C-O, Italy. When he came here to this country, there was no asylum. Somebody says, "You want a job?" He didn't know any English. He says, "Yeah." He just says yes. They put him on a cattle train and took him up to Winnipeg for the railroad.
Several years ago, I was involved in the restoration of the Statue of Liberty. So I was given a preview before they opened, and I went to Liberty Island. And as we were leaving, they asked if I would be interested in going to see an Ellis Island, which was in a state of disrepair at the time. So I said, "Oh, I'd love to." So I went and they gave me a tour, and I got home and I couldn't wait to speak to my dad. So I called him and I said, "Dad, we're gonna have some lunch." And I told him that the day before I had been to Ellis Island, I felt that I was transcending time. I said, I felt that I could almost feel your fingerprints on the railing. I said, I felt that I could almost feel Grandma's presence in Ellis Island. It was a moving experience for me. And he looked at me and said, "My boat landed in Providence."
The steamship agents became employment agents. They'd go to Italy and hamlets and places and tell them that there was opportunity and sell them tickets if they could. Once they brought them here, there was nowhere for them to live. So these ticket agents built these 6 and 8 tenement houses, provided them money for furniture. They provided them money for clothing. They provided them with jobs and became employment agents, and they paid for the jobs, fees. So these ticket agents began to open up little banks, small banks. And there were many on Spruce Street, many on side streets here. These men became known as padroni, the padroni system. They were loose organizations until later when the Department of Business Regulations came into being.
Padrone has a connotation in Italian, and it means more than being the head of a family. It really is a title of respect that means benefactor in general, person of good quality and character, generous, and guardian, in effect, of a group much larger than the family.
They took advantage of the immigrants. They would charge them to write a letter to Italy, for example. They would charge them if they helped them get a job. They're like brokers. Was it what they did was nice? Not really.
They were exploited by their own people. They would be in bondage almost, because at the end of the week when they got their pay, they had to pay for rent, money that they borrowed for clothing or other things. So when they got paid on Friday or Saturday, whenever their payday was, they hardly had enough money to go around. So that's how the padroni system came into being.
We're the oldest Italo-American club, fraternal, that we know of in the United States. The Italo-American Club was founded in 1896 to keep the language alive, to keep the culture alive. These men, then in those days, just the men, came together, had a place to meet, talk, play cards, maybe to eat, and then they would help each other out. They would have dues. If someone got sick, they would call a doctor and help pay for the doctor bill. If somebody had to go to the hospital, they helped pay the hospital bill. Somebody died, they helped to pay for the funeral. So these clubs sprung up throughout Rhode Island.
We have a list of all the organizations that were formed and the addresses that they had along the street here. They had little headquarters where they would go because there was no radio, there was no television, there was no phone. So they would go there and they would help one another. Oh, I just got a job at such and such a place. They might be interested. So they helped one another, not only for business purposes, but then social purposes.
The first organizations they joined were more church-related, based on the patron saints from their país. And then later may have branched out and joined, say, the Yellow American Club.
The clubs that developed early were the fraternal religious groups in church. Each area from Italy had patron saints, and those patron saints became clubs, organizations. They would call it, for instance, the St. Rocco's Club, the St. Joseph's Club, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Some of these were strictly for women.
I can also remember growing up, it seemed like every week at Holy Ghost Church, which was the home church for the Italian immigrants, there was some sort of a feast honoring a patron saint from a particular país.